So you're buying rural land and someone mentions septic systems and suddenly your brain kind of shuts off? Yeah, that happens a lot. But stick with me here because this is actually pretty straightforward once you break it down. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Land Buyer's Guide. I'm your host, Scott Thomas, owner of landparker.com, where we help people find affordable rural land with owner financing that actually fits a real budget. Today we're talking septic systems, what they are, what you need to know before you install one, and how to avoid some of the more common headaches that come with the territory. Let's just jump right in. So first, why does this even matter? Well, if you're buying rural land, chances are you're not going to have access to a municipal sewer line. That means your property needs its own way to handle wastewater. Everything that goes down a drain or gets flushed, your septic system deals with it. It breaks waste down naturally underground. And honestly, once it's in and working right, you barely think about it. But getting there takes a little planning. The very first thing you want to do, before you start calling contractors or pricing out tanks, is get the land tested. There are two tests that really matter here. The first is a soil evaluation. A licensed soil scientist or engineer comes out and looks at the composition of your soil, how deep it goes, how it's structured, basically figuring out whether it can actually absorb and treat wastewater properly. The second test is called a perc test, short for percolation. What that measures is how quickly water moves through the soil. And here's the thing, both extremes are a problem. If water drains too fast, it doesn't get treated properly before it reaches the groundwater. Too slow, and it just sits there and backs up. You want something in the middle. Now, if you're in the process of purchasing land and the seller hasn't done these tests yet, it's worth asking about making them part of your offer. Just something to consider. And if the land doesn't pass a perc test, that's not automatically a deal breaker. It might just mean you need a different type of system, which brings me to the next thing. There are actually several different types of septic systems, and they're not all the same. The most common one is the conventional system. That's the one most people picture. A tank buried in the ground with a drain field, sometimes called a leach field, where treated water slowly absorbs into the soil. It's the most affordable option and works great when your soil conditions are right. But what if your soil isn't ideal? That's where alternatives come in. A mound system is one option. This is used when the water table is too high or the soil just isn't suitable. Treated water gets pumped up into a raised mound of engineered fill material. It works, but it does cost more. Then there are aerobic treatment units, or ATUs. These use oxygen to break down waste more efficiently. Some areas with stricter environmental rules actually require these. There's also drip irrigation systems, which slowly release treated water through a network of tubes underground. Good for properties with tricky terrain or limited space. And if you're going full off-grid, composting toilets combined with a gray water system are worth looking into. A lot of homesteaders go this route because it significantly reduces or even eliminates the need for a traditional septic tank. Your local health department or a good septic installer can help you figure out which one actually makes sense for your specific lot. Don't try to guess on this one. Speaking of local regulations, this is an area where a lot of first-time land buyers get caught off guard. Septic installation is regulated at the county or state level, and the rules vary quite a bit depending on where your land is. So you'll want to reach out to your county health department or environmental agency early on. You need to know what permits are required. You'll also want to find out about setback distances, basically how far your septic system needs to be from your property lines, your well, any water bodies nearby, and the foundation of your home. These setback rules exist for good reason, and they'll directly affect where on your lot you can actually put the system. Some counties require a licensed contractor to do the installation. Others allow owner installation. You won't know until you ask. And almost everywhere requires at least one inspection before the system gets covered with soil. So plan for that in your timeline. Skipping the permit process is one of those things that can come back to bite you pretty hard. Fines, having to remove the system, and real complications if you ever decide to sell the property. It's just not worth the shortcut. Now let's talk about placement, because where you put the system on your land actually matters more than people think. The drain field needs open land. No structures over it, no driveways, not a lot of heavy foot traffic. You also want to keep large trees and shrubs away from it because roots can get into the pipes and cause real damage over time. Think about how water naturally drains on your property too. If you're in an area that gets heavy rain, you don't want runoff flooding your drain field. And practically speaking, think about accessibility. You're going to need to get a pump truck out there every few years, so you don't want the tank buried in some impossible corner of the property. Okay, let's talk money. Septic costs vary a lot depending on where you are, what type of system you need, and what your soil conditions look like. A conventional system can run anywhere from about $3,000 to $10,000. Alternative systems, mound systems, ATUs, drip systems, those can run from $10,000 up to $20,000 or more because of the extra components and engineering involved. Soil and perc testing typically runs somewhere between $300 and $1,500 depending on your area. Permits and inspections usually add another $200 to $1,000 on top of that. The best thing you can do is get 2 or 3 quotes from licensed installers before you commit. Prices can differ quite a bit between contractors, and someone with more experience might actually save you money by avoiding mistakes during installation. And then there's the long game, maintenance. A well-installed septic system can last 20 to 40 years if you take care of it. That's a long time. The main thing is getting the tank pumped every 3 to 5 years depending on how many people are using it. Beyond that, just be thoughtful about what goes down the drain. Wipes, even the ones labeled flushable, grease, and harsh chemicals can mess with the natural bacteria that make the whole system work. Keep records of your system too, where it's located, when it was installed, when it's been pumped, any maintenance that's been done. If you ever sell the property, that documentation is genuinely valuable to the next buyer. And just keep an eye out for warning signs. Slow drains, gurgling sounds, or wet, soggy spots over the drain field area. Catching something early is always going to be easier and cheaper than dealing with it after it becomes a bigger problem. Here's the honest takeaway from all of this. A septic system is a significant part of making rural land actually livable. But it's not this scary, mysterious thing. It takes some upfront research, the right tests, understanding your local rules, and working with a qualified installer. Do those things and you're in solid shape. If you're just getting started and not sure where to begin, calling your county health department is genuinely the easiest first move. They can tell you exactly what's required in your area and point you in the right direction. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you're thinking about buying rural land and want to see what's available, head over to landparker.com. We list discounted rural vacant land across the country with owner financing options, sometimes as low as $100 down and $100 a month. No bank needed, no credit check hoops to jump through, just land you can actually afford. Go check it out at landparker.com, and we'll see you on the next episode.